bipartisan solution. They're tired of people like me. They're tired of people saying over and over again that we're just basically one bill away or one election away from some progress. It's not the racist white person who's in the Ku Klux Klan that we have to worry about. It's the white liberal Hillary Clinton supporter walking her dog in Central Park who would tell you right now, people like that, oh, I don't see race. Race is no big deal to me. I see us all as the same. I give to charities. But the minute she sees a black man who she does not respect or who she has a slight thought against, she weaponized race like she had been trained by the Aryan Nation. A Klans member could not have been better trained to pick up the police and pick up her phone and tell the police it's a black man, African-American man, come get him. So even the most liberal, well-intentioned white person has a virus in his or her brain that can be activated at an instant. And so what you're seeing now is a curtain falling away.
I was very optimistic. I was very optimistic, at the horror of what happened after the death of George Floyd. I became optimistic when I saw so many people get it. It was the same thing that happens during the Civil Rights Movement when people saw on television what happened on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, what happened with Bull Connor, what happened in all of these moments. When people saw it, when white people saw it, they got engaged, they wanted to help. So when they saw George Floyd's death, this horrific, horrible death played out, as this man pleaded for his life and begged, said please many, many times, seeing it changes everything. So I became very, very optimistic when everybody galvanized together, because I know that's when change comes, when people galvanize and come together as one. That's when change happens. But lately I've been very, very concerned that the message is being hijacked by some other groups or political ads and parties that are trying to stop the message of what we're asking for here is police reform, right? So, yeah, I was, but I'm worried now is because of what I'm seeing.
The Minneapolis riots are a prime example of what happens when a legitimate protest is hijacked, and those who sought to honor a victim of injustice became the perpetrators of injustice themselves. Keep in mind, the vast majority of protesters were peaceful, while a small minority of rioters took advantage of tension surrounding the death of George Floyd. However, evidence of Antifa has surfaced all across the United States, and in the name of justice, they're setting fire to buildings and destroying property. George Floyd had an entire nation on his side, and a moment that would have normally brought the country together instead has been turned into something incredibly dark. The attack on business. What has bothered me most is the destruction of businesses at the hands of professional protesters. I struggle to find the connection between protesting for justice and terrorizing places of business. The truth? There is no legitimate relationship between those two things. Sure, places like Target have insurance, but insurance won't help those who are now unemployed in this post-COVID-19 world that we're now living in. The majority of businesses targeted by these rioters were local. Businesses like Score Sports Bar. The owner was left in tears after his business was destroyed.
Today, we found Corboy Bala, who invested his life savings into opening this sports bar, cleaning up. While our camera was there, looters came back to try to steal his safe.
Right, trying to steal the safe.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna work so hard to get here. So hard.
Woke Twitter is perfectly fine with riots. Just researching for this video, I had no problem finding an endless supply of tweets endorsing these acts. White anarchists have infiltrated these protest groups, and this predicament hasn't gone unnoticed by some Black Lives Matter protesters.
I want you to know this is not. Don't police people's way of
Let me tell you this.
themselves.
This is not a black woman who's putting Black Lives Matter. I just want you to know that when. Right, but y'all doing that for us, and we ain't asked you to do that. Listen, Don't spray stuff on here when they gonna blame black people for this and black people didn't do it. There's a black person. But if we wanted you to do it, we would have asked. They not gonna show y'all faces when they see that on their building. They gonna blame that on us. Y'all are part of the problem.
White liberals that are roaming black neighborhoods under the guise of helping black people are actually burning down their communities. A Cincinnati councilman called out the rioters.
Let me tell you something. There are people down here who are encouraging 14-year-old kids. These babies are 14 years old, man, and they're encouraging them to throw bottles at these cops. And these grown people are encouraging our babies to fight. This is not their fight. And I will give a how mad or angry you are with what's happening with the police. But these 15-year-old kids have nothing to do with this, man. And these cops, black cops, white cops, or whatever like that, they did not do anything. And I'm not here to take one side or the other, but what I'm suggesting to the people of Cincinnati is that what type of success are you going to have with attacking these people that have nothing to do with this? And what I'm saying is that you got people down here who are literally encouraging kids to attack cops. You're encouraging the kids to attack cops, and they're using Emmett Till. They're using Martin Luther King to justify why these 14 and 15-year-old kids should be out here. These are former students of mine. You see what I'm saying? I am imploring that before this pops and this gets bad, they're throwing bricks. They just threw a brick at the cops. It's wrong. I'm telling you, it's wrong. And I'm so nervous and I'm so scared for these kids. These are kids. There are kids around. There are kids across the street who live downtown in City West, and these people are out here encouraging them. And as an elder in the African American community, if any African American is encouraging these 14 and 15-year-old kids to be out here, they're wrong. That's wrong. These cops didn't do anything to George Floyd. This is wrong. I don't get how you see it. It's wrong.
Thank you. Enablers of rioting have even attempted to make the case that Martin Luther King would endorse this tactic, totally ignoring the fact that Dr. King is strictly nonviolence. Here is a list of all of the businesses that have been vandalized, looted, and destroyed since this all began. This is just in Minneapolis alone. People that actually live in these communities have spoken out in dismay.
Been hearing your frustrations, and I would love for you to share them with the community right now, because you and so many others are going through such a rough time. How was last night?
Scary. I live in the high-rise right back here, and I seen them as they came down Lake Street. But then they turned and started coming over here, and I'm sitting out looking out my window. And they went straight to Office Max, the dollar store, and every store over here that I go to. I have nowhere to go now. I have no way to get there because the buses aren't running. These people did this for no reason. It's not going to bring George back here. George is in a better place than we are. Last night, I'm going to be honest, I wish I was where George was, because this is ridiculous. These people are tearing up our livelihood. This is the only place I could go to shop. And now I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anywhere to get there.
How do we solve an injustice by perpetrating more injustice?
People work too hard. Too hard. You ain't gonna do it in front of me.
This is not a black woman who's put in Black Lives Matter. I just want you to know that when Right, but y'all doing that for us, and we ain't asked you to do that. Listen, don't spray stuff on here when they gonna blame black people for this, and black people didn't do it. Don't push the game. Stop. It doesn't matter. Because listen, no.
They only do that shit.
No, but when you do that, they don't come after you. They come after us. No. Don't spray on these people's buildings. That's not our message. We out here standing together peacefully, protesting without any problems. You got people of all races spraying on buildings talking about Black Lives Matter. That ain't even us. You got police officers coming to a peaceful protest spraying gas on us. We ain't even did nothing. Don't let the media fool you. When they see the vandalism on these places, know that it wasn't us.
You don't have to go and burn down things, steal things, burn things, and stuff like that. We always try to keep things together. We got enough issue with this COVID virus right now. We got enough issues. But for this right here to happen right now, it just adds to it. You got people, big corporations are closing their stores because the people are looting. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we hurting each other again? Why not just help each other, hold each other's hands, and guess what though? It's try to solve the problem. You know, we didn't create this problem, but guess what? We can help. Especially the new generation today, the 21st century generation. Help us as older individuals to understand this. Don't add to it. Do not add to it. Help us and help everybody right now. We got too many issues right now. And this is a bad one right now, but we got to all come together and try to help each other, try to get through all this situation. Please understand, we have to live together. We're human beings. We're not animals. We are human beings.
People work too hard. You ain't gonna do it in front of me. It might just be a little shoes and a little clothes, but you won't ransack this not tonight. Don't push the game. Stop. It doesn't matter. Because listen, no.
They only do that shit.
No, but when you do that, they don't come after you. They come after us.
Bitch, don't give no group of black men no credit that don't do nothing. All right? Push the fuck up. Go home. Why would you give that to them? They gonna get in trouble. You stupid. You a retarded bitch. All of y'all. Why the fuck would you give that to them? That shit is wild disrespectful. I don't give a fuck about your friends. I'm talking about this white bitch giving a group of black men a brick to throw. You know that shit could get them killed? You know that. Just having that shit could get them killed. Y'all find yourself sensational. Go in the fucking house and I'll kick everybody's ass. Go in the motherfucking house and slap everybody's license off their face. Fuck y'all. That's the bullshit. What the fuck is that?
They just sitting there waiting to give somebody.
The demonstrations. So what was it like in that capacity in the first few weeks when the fence was up around the Justice Center for that RRT response?
I'll say this. I got to see folks that really do want change, like the rest of us that have been impacted by racism. And then I got to see those people get faded out by people that have no idea what racism is all about, never experienced racism, that don't even know that the tactics that they are using are the same tactics that were used against my people. And they don't even know they don't even know the history. They don't know what they're saying. Coming from someone who graduated from PSU with a history degree, it's actually frightening on how, they say if you don't know your history, you repeat it, and watching people do that to other people just because of what they decide to do with their life.
What are some of those interactions that you're...
So a lot of times someone of color, black, Hispanic, Asian, come up to the fence and directly want to talk to me. Hey, what do you think about George Floyd? What do you think about what happened about this? I go up to the fence, someone white comes up, F the police, don't talk to him. That was the most bizarre thing, because I could see it coming. I even had a young African American girl tell me, why is it you guys aren't talking to us? I said, honestly, this is now the 23rd day of doing it. Every time I try to have a conversation with someone that looks like me, someone white comes up and blocks them and tells them not to talk. And then right when I said that, this white girl popped right in front of her. She said, he just said that was going to happen. I said, told you. I told you. She looked at the girl and said, why'd you do that? And I straight up, I said, I've been called the N-word. She's been called the N-word. Why are you talking to me this way? Why do you feel that she can't speak for herself to me? Why is it that you feel you need to speak for her when we're having a conversation? And she couldn't answer my question. All she said was, someone told me to do it. So that has been a very strange thing to watch. I'm cool with, people feeling like they want to help a movement, but then when you go to a gentrified community, and one of the first pictures I saw, that one of the business that was looted was a black-owned business. I'm like, they're not even from here. They don't even know what they're even doing. So that to me was very angering, watching, a business that was looted, and that business is across the street from a Safeway where, before my father became a police officer here in Portland, he worked security at that Safeway. Talk about history and roots. And these folks don't even know what they're even doing. And so it's divisive, it's hurting the community. And I mean, I saw that press conference. Clearly the community was not happy with that. And they even asked for the violence to stop. And they still are coming out and having these violent interactions with other citizens, the police, and at some point you just go, what is the end goal? Bloody Sunday, Selma, those folks marched because they wanted the right to vote, and they legitimately were beaten in the street for civil rights, to have rights that they were told they couldn't have because they were not even human. And then having folks scream and yell that they're being peaceful protests, but you're not peaceful because it is violent. And I actually had a cousin who went to one of the marches and he left. And he said, this has turned into something else. This is weird. So having an African American male marching and then leaving, like I said, it's been very eye-opening. But I did have great conversations. I met two young brothers who were literally, after I had taken an explosive, I had been hit with a full beer can, a rock in my chest, frozen water bottle had hit me. I met two young brothers that were out cleaning up the street. They had 2 garbage bags and they were just running and cleaning up. And a few of us from my team, we went over and we had to shake their hands. I was so moved by them and so impressed. And they said, their words, we're from here. This is our city. Why I don't understand why people are coming here and destroying it. And we want to show that we want to clean it up. And I was absolutely we let them take a picture with us. I didn't take a picture. They had their camera and they had a picture taken. But like I said, I was just so moved by that.
So there's been highs and lows.
Yeah.
I know you and I were talking the other day, and you were sharing just some of the hateful and racist things that you and other officers of color have been subject to. And I mean, I was just floored. But I think that's some of the stuff that people haven't been seeing or hearing. And we've worked very hard within our agency to try and recruit and retain a diverse population of officers. Can you share a little bit about that experience?
It says something when you're at a Black Lives Matter protest. You have more minorities on the police side than you have in a violent crowd. And you have white people screaming at black officers. You have the biggest nose I've ever seen. And you hear these things and you go, where are these people are they gonna say something to this person? No. So, and that's just one example. Having people tell you, what to do with your life, that you need to quit your job, that you need to, you're hurting your community, but they're not even part of the community. And once again, you as a privileged white person telling someone of color what to do with their life. And you, absolutely, and you don't even know what I've dealt with, what these white officers that you're screaming at, you don't know them. You don't know anything about them. And there are racist people out in the world. Absolutely. There are bad cops out there in the world. We don't associate with those people. They make us all look bad. That's not something that I stand for. That's not something that my coworkers stand for. And I've been called on calls the N-word. I don't know. I can't even count in the time that I have been a police officer, and having white officers jump in and defend me, and me telling them, just ignore it, and them being absolutely shocked and.
Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI director said.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups, and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared to specifically
do it?
Well,
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing. Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
We're now moving on to the Trump and Biden records.
They'll overthrow you.
When a president, I'm going to ask a question.